Hey guys, I'm so excited to be launching these presets. So I thought I'd just jump on and show you how I would edit some of my photos that are on my phone and show you how it works in the Lightroom mobile app. So some of the photos that I've got in here today are from my camera, some of them are just from phone. And ideally you want to be able to do a one-click edit, but sometimes you can tweak it a little bit, and I shoot underexposed on my DSLR, so I can show you just some little bits and pieces that you can do with your phone snaps and also with your big cameras. So what happens is down the bottom here, you've got your presets and all of your editing tools. So we just scroll along. We have our presets down here. I'm just going to apply GD1, Golden Days 1, and I'm super happy with how that's turned out. So I'll tick it and go back. All right, so this one, I'll just have a look at what presets I like, which one I want to use on it. And I think Golden Days 4. That's totally perfect for me. Okay, I'm going to go with Golden Days Black and White on this one. Now, it is a little bit dark on her face, so I'm just going to scroll over and click Light. And I don't want to make the whites too much whiter, so I'm just going to lift the shadows a touch. And I'm happy with that. Okay, so I really like Golden Days 3 on this, but I'm just going to show you with Golden Days 5. So when I apply this, I love it. It's got a super awesome kind of retro feel, but I just want to be able to bring back the color in her skirt. So I'll scroll back over and just hit color. And I'm just going to up the saturation a touch. Maybe go back down a smidgen. You don't ever want to overdo it. Obviously, if you bring it right up, it's going to look super weird. Okay, so this one I'm going to do Golden Days Black and White. And I just want to make it pop a bit more, so I'll just go to light and lift the exposure a bit, and that's totally right for me. Now, I like the horizon line isn't major, but I do want it to be straight. That's something you need to be aware of in your photos. So I'm just going to go over here to crop, and if I just slide my finger across the screen from side to side, it'll just adjust it from there. Okay. All right, so for this one, I'm going to do Golden Days 3. So as I said, if I'm using my DSLR, I do tend to shoot a little bit underexposed. So you'll see me lightening these up a fair bit. So I'm just going to bring up the exposure a touch. But as you'll see in the background, it has a rainbow and the clouds look amazing there. So I don't want to lose the detail of the clouds and the rainbow, but I also don't want to lift the dark area up too much. So what I'm going to do is leave it there, and then I'm just going to bring the highlights down, which are responsible for your lighter parts of the photo. And I'll just bring the whites down a touch too. And then we've got the details still in there. Okay, so this one, I'm just going to go GD2, and I'll go over to light and brighten it up a touch. And then it's beautiful and I love the colors, but I do like things a little bit warm, on the warmer side. So over here, I'm going to play with my white balance. So you've got, if I bring it right down, you'll see it goes super blue or super warm. So I just want to warm it up just a bit to about there. And this one, I'm going to show you this one. Okay, so I'll just go presets. GD1, I'm super happy with that as is. Okay. All right, I'm going to put GD4 on this one. How cute is that face? Now, because of the way that I was facing them and they're not really facing into the light, you can get some shadows in photos, just casting, you know, darker shadows. So what I'm going to do here is just bring the contrast down a touch, and I'll just lift the shadows up a smidgen, and I'm happy with that. All right, so for this one, it was a little bit hazy that afternoon in the light, so I'm just going to bring it up, and I'll just bring the contrast up a bit because I want it to be more punchy. Now, this is where you can play with skin tone. So you might be able to see in this photo that the tones in this, just for the cast from the grass and everything like that, is just a little bit like on the yellowy green side in the skin. So what I'm going to do is go to color, and I'm actually going to bring a little bit of tint of pink into the photo. That's one way that you can do it. So I'll bring it back down. And the other way that you can do it is up in the top right hand corner here, you've got mix. So I'm just going to click on that. And the oranges here are responsible for skin tone. So what I want to play with in this one is just the hue. I don't really need to desaturate it, but I just want to change the hue so it's not as, you know, greeny yellow. And I'm just going to drag it a little bit more over onto the warm side, just a smidgen. And that's good for me. Okay, so we're going to do an indoors one now, and I'm just going to pop Golden Days 5 on, and I'll just brighten it up. Now, you can see in this photo, it's pretty warm. So from the floor, there's a warm casting there, and there's, some details around the house that are nice and warm. So I love a warm photo, but I just need to cool this one down just a little so it's not too yellow and too orange. So what I'll do again is just play with the white balance here, and I'm just going to drag the temperature down a smidgen, and that's perfect. All right, I'm going to go GD2 on this one, and I'm just going to press light and brighten it up, and I'm happy with that. Okay, so next up, this one was when the fires were happening in Australia, and the sky was really, it was just making it super vivid instead of it being washed out. So when I apply the preset, it is a pretty strong color set. So what I'm going to do is just press color, and you can play with vibrance or saturation, but I'm just going to bring the saturation down a smidgen, and then I might just line it up a touch. Perfect. Okay, so here I'm just going to do Golden Days 1, and just going to line it up, and that's good for me. I mean, the Golden Days 1's amazing. It works so well for indoor, outdoor, in full sun and shade, and it's just an all-round good guy, really. So again, this one here, you'll see that there was a warm couch that she was sitting on, and when I apply a preset, it's going to make it super orange. But that's super easy fixed. It's just because of the house we were shooting in. So I'm just going to bring up the exposure a bit just to lighten the photo. And then I'm going to go to color, and I'll just cool it down. Great. Alrighty, so this one here, I'll put on, I think, GD2. Now, when I look at that, because it's such a white sort of space, it does wash out the color a little bit. So one thing that I could do here is just bring back the color, and I'll just up the saturation for this one. So it's bringing back the color of the plant and the chair outside there. And I'll just add a bit of contrast. Okay, so let's go Golden Days 5, and I'm happy with that. This one I'm going to put on, I just like to scroll through them and as well and see which ones I like on it. I think Golden Days 1 for this one, and I'm happy with that. Okay, Golden Days 3 for here. It looks amazing on that turquoise and burnt orange, which I absolutely love. It's such a... Golden Days 3 is so good for like that retro, and so is Golden Days 5. And then this one, I'm just going to pop on GD1. Now, when you're shooting indoors, you might find that things end up a little bit warm looking, and you don't want your yellows to look, you don't want them to look super warm and like the walls to look yellow at all. So one thing you can do here is just bring up your whites so it's nice and fresh, and then you can always just play around a little bit with the white balance. And that's perfect for me. And that's it, guys. I'm so excited to launch these. So when you grab them, just make sure you're using Love Her Wild presets as a hashtag so that I can share your before and after photos or feature your photos. I so want to see how they work for you. Just make sure you share the love, because I am so stoked to see everyone using these. Happy days.